Today marks 2 years since President Obama signed what is considered his key legislative achievement, the health care reform law.
And next week, the Supreme Court is set to hear arguments challenging the constitutionality of that legislation. Political correspondent Jan Crawford has more on the looming showdown. Jan, good morning. We should also point out that you're not just a political correspondent, Jan. You covered the Supreme Court for a number of years, which is, of course, why we turn to you in these instances.
Well, thanks, Erica. And of course, all eyes are going to be on that Supreme Court next week in what is going to be 3 days of historic arguments. These are very difficult issues. It's a very complex law, and it has divided judges in the lower courts, just as this law has divided America.
We are done.
Recognizing his political future and legacy could well depend on the Supreme Court, the president is marking the anniversary of his landmark health care law by releasing emotional web videos arguing his signature achievement is a success.
Right now, you have choices about who's going to fight for you. Are we going to roll back health care that promises you having more security?
When it passed, Vice President Biden was positively euphoric. But that's not how critics and most Americans view Obama's health care legislation. It remains a political lightning rod.
It's time to repeal Obamacare.
And a rallying cry for the Republican presidential candidates.
Every person up here understands Obamacare is a disaster.
If I'm president, I'll repeal Obamacare and return rights to our people.
It's a threat to the very essence of who America is.
It's also a law a majority of Americans have never supported. In a new Washington Post poll, 52% oppose the law, 41% approve, and 67% think the Supreme Court should either strike it down completely or at least repeal the part that requires them to buy insurance or pay a penalty. That's the big issue before the justices. 26 states and a small business group are arguing the law is unconstitutional, that the federal government can't force you to buy insurance any more than it can force you to buy broccoli. That argument has struck a chord with conservatives, and opposition to the law is one of the issues Republicans hope will help them win the White House and control of Congress.
Politicians get it right this time. Repeal Obamacare now.
And critics continue to rally the opposition. More than $262 million have been spent on health care issue ads since the bill became law, with negative ads outspending positive 3-to-1. Despite all that, Democrats are confident of their chances in the court.
We knew what we were doing when we passed this bill. It is ironclad constitutionally.
Now, Pelosi may think that law is ironclad, but I've got to tell you guys, there are others, including some judges in those lower courts who disagree. They've ruled it unconstitutional. Now, they can argue about all this till the cows come home, but it is the Supreme Court that will have the final say and decide this issue once and for all.